Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, welcome to the Eagle Talk Show. Bienvenidos al show de las águilas. Please stand up and welcome your host, Micah Ariano.
Good morning! Good. Buenos días, buenos días. Gracias por venir al show de los águilas. Welcome to the Eagle Talk Show. Look at all those smiles this morning, ready to learn and what we have for our guests to give us information this morning that will empower your child's higher academic. So estamos aquí hoy para darles información a ustedes de padres para enforzar la educación de sus hijos. Como digo todo el tiempo yo, usted es el primer maestro de la educación de sus hijos, ¿verdad? So I think I want to start this show with a little bit kind of the old music to kind of strengthen that parent engagement. You know what I mean? And I want to invite our first guest to come and join me, kind of move that movement. Okay? I think we can do it. We come from way back then. So here we go. Chief, come over here. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Here we go. You say hi, everybody. There we go. Here we go. Go. Thank you. Thank you. Come on. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Have a seat. Welcome, Chief Arstevedo.
Hola,
Welcome
¿cómo
to
estás?
Eagle Touch. Muy
Gracias,
bien.
thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's good, right? And the energy keeps everybody going, and you know, it's very unique.
Absolutely. Energy is what we need to start the day with so we can get through that day.
I know.
So,
Well, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and work out. That's the way you got to do it.
what do? Run?
Run.
Me too.
That's a good do.
I run to the bathroom and I run to the refrigerator. Yeah, feed the beast.
That's so good. You know, as a child, you have probably no idea, as a Cuban child, probably had no idea that one day that child was to impact his leadership to an awesome men and women in law enforcement. Awesome. Share with us.
Well, you know, being a foreigner, and remember my first day in school, no hablaba ni una palabra en inglés. Era el único Latino, the only Hispanic in my school, and I remember the struggles of learning language y la importancia de la educación. And so growing up, my dad used to say that the moon's is possible if you work at it. And so here I am, a lot of years later, police chief in the greatest city in the country and probably the best police department in the country. And I'm just happy to be in a position where I can be a role model to a lot of other kids, that if a little boy can come from another country and end up being a police chief in the fastest growing city in the country, the 13th largest city in the country, they can be whatever they want to be.
As growing up, who was your leader, your mentor?
My father. Mi papá era para mí todo. Era mi padre, mi hermano, y mi mejor amigo. He was my best friend, my father, and a brother all rolled into one. I was a mama's and daddy's boy that I always wanted to make them proud. You know, they left their country, they left their culture, they left everything behind for us. And so my dad left 10 brothers and sisters behind, 9, with 10 with him. Never saw them again, and it was for us. And so we had to honor that through hard work.
You always carried that smile, charisma. You know, you do that a lot. You know, just smile. People say, "How is he?" And I say, "I don't know," but sometimes with that smile, you tend to melt people like, "Well, that smile." You know, it does that because eres persona. You're a person from the heart.
Absolutely.
And you believe what is really needs to be done in our community.
Absolutely. And, and a smile for me, when you smile, it is a sign of confidence. It's a sign of openness. It's a sign of respect and acceptance. And I always tell my police officers, don't ever be afraid to smile, because a smile goes a long way on de-escalating a situation and building that trust. And so I'm always smiling, but I'm not going to tell you what I'm thinking right now.
I know that's right. That's what people say. That smile, you know, when we do the Photoshop. Remember we did that?
Oh, yeah.
Tu casa es amable. You knew that we got there and you offer it's a home because it's a bill of trust. And people would say that. People say like, wow, what an awesome picture you all did. But it's a thing because you feel comfortable with what we do, what I do. And I've seen you at different events, and I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
Because I believe in the community, especially on the north side of Austin. It's growing.
Absolutely.
And that is just unbelievable. And
Well, the growth for the city really is north. The push has been north. We're going to take over Williamson County before they know it. It's going to be all Austin, and so we're going to have the left wing and the right wing come together.
Come together. We need those.
I mean, we'll get some moderation out of it.
It's so neat. That's what I like about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Share with us, what is the safety, security programs that you offered within the school district or mentoring programs that you have?
Well, we have a real crisis in our community, especially amongst Latinos and African American boys. They're dropping out at a rate of 50 to 55% in a lot of urban areas. And what kids don't understand is that when you drop out, you're going to end up more likely to end up in prison than employed. And so when I got here in 2007, we didn't have any youth programs in the Austin Police Department other than Camp Apple. And so we started the Police Activities League, the Explorer program, and something that I'm very proud of is we started the Urban Initiative with Boy Scouts. We've got over 1,300 kids,
Wow.
1,300 boys in our troop. We're troops in our district.
Keep them away from the street.
Keep them away from the street. If Boy Scout for 5 or more years, they graduate at a 91, 92% rate. So think about that. The
What do you
data's
think
clear.
about that? That's awesome, right?
Absolutely. So that's how we secure their futures by. I believe in investing in kids. Those kids are our future, and what people don't realize. Look at this audience. We are the melting pot of the world. The world's caught up to us, and now we have to focus on educating kids. Y a los padres y las mamás que los veo aquí, la educación es muy importante. Con la educación pueden seguir adelante. Sin la educación no van a tener la oportunidad de sus hijos y sus hijas que yo tengo, porque la educación es crítica, es muy, muy crítico.
It makes a change for our society. It makes a change every aspect in our society and in the whole, especially here in Austin.
Absolutely. In Austin, we want to educate our kids, and to the educators in the audience, I have a really soft spot for educators, because if it wasn't for my public education, that it wasn't free because we all pay taxes, but I'm a product of public education, and that's why I will always be a tireless advocate to ensure that what makes our democracy, our strength, starts with excellence in public education, where everybody that comes from a have-not family, that every parent wants to make their kids have more than they had, it starts with public education. So you will always have an advocate in this police chief and in this person, no matter what my capacity is.
And that's what I admire of you, because you come to Austin, as you know, you came to Austin, it's called We Are Austin. You open your doors to be open and receptive of every walk of life, regardless of who they are. And I think as a leader, it's very important to show that, express that to the community, because what we show to our community is what they see. Like today, they see us because we're reaching to our community. Share with us, how would you like to see parent engagement in our community?
Listen, the important thing for parents, especialmente los papás y las mamás que no hablan inglés, algunas veces no pueden entender la tarea de sus hijos. Pero eso no quiere decir que usted no puede prestar atención a que sus hijos están haciendo. Asegurar que sus hijos están haciendo su tarea todos los días, que están leyendo, que están escribiendo, y que no están en las calles jugando. You don't have to speak English or understand English as a parent to be engaged in your child's education. Luckily, and when I started school in 1960 or gone, in 1969.
It goes back to that music, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, that music actually was in the 80s, I think. So I was already a teenager when that came out. But when I started school, there was no bilingual education. There was no tutoring. There's no excuse for kids to fail now. But the difference between, even in a school they may not be doing as a whole well, you will always find success cases. And the reason those kids are successful, it's parent engagements. La mamá y los papás son los que tienen que asegurar que sus hijos y sus hijas estén estudiando, que sigan adelante, que no estén en la televisión todo el día. They can play on Saturdays and Sundays. During the week, they need to do their homework. And I always tell kids, once you get those good habits, once you create that routine, coming home, getting a snack, and getting to work, it gets easier. It gets easier. And I promise that to kids. They just got to stay with it. because what they do today will impact the rest of their lives.
And that's what we call it today. The program is reaching out to our community. It's like a village. It takes one by one, one child by one in the village.
That's right.
That it will impact. And that's our duty as leaders and educators, is to really empower that child, regardless the background they come from. Because I believe the child, when I was growing up, there was no programs. And as you share, now there is, we should utilize those programs in our community to strengthen the child's dream. It's not what the parents want, it's what the child wants in that dream.
Absolutely, and I always tell young kids, 'cause I always go to talk to schools because kids are my passion. I mean, we are all going to meet those kids. Esos niños los vamos a conocer tarde o temprano, todos vamos a conocer. I want to meet them at the end of a service line. I want to meet them at the end of a phone. I want to meet them in the hospital as nurses and doctors. I don't want to meet them at the end of a gun.
Right.
Because they didn't get the education, because they got involved in drugs, because they got involved in gangs. And the way that we do that is all of us have a vested interest in helping one another raise our kids. And if, you know, when I was a little kid, I was hell on wheels, man, with my bicycle. I'd be down the middle of the street, some busy street.
Were you one of those cholos anytime?
No, not cholos, not cholos, not cholos. But
I was a
I
product
was
of that,
kid.
but look at this now.
Where'd you grow up?
South Texas.
You look like a sureño. Yo soy norteño. Norteño, sureño, eh?
But
Well,
people used to say.
Your neighbors would call in on you with your parents, right?
Right, yeah.
Oye, tu hijo Angelina, la
exactamente.
señora Angelina. Oye, señora Acevedo, su hijo estaba montando la bicicleta como un loco, and my dad would hang it from the rafter, and I'd be crying for a while. So that's what we need today.
That was discipline, but discipline, people get the wrong idea. Discipline means is to empower, to strengthen that individual child. It's not about abusing the child. It's about guiding to a potential path for that child.
Yes, and it's about teaching kids consequences for bad behavior. You don't have to beat your kid. If they have a Nintendo and they don't have, my kid's job was to get good grades. That was their job. My job was to provide. Their job was to study. If they didn't do well, the Nintendo went out of the room. And that's the key. Life is about work and rewards. You work hard, you get rewarded. And we can teach those lessons to our kids by showing them consequences and then rewarding at the end of the semester when they get good grades. Save up, buy them something to reward them. It's a consequences and reward type of system.
Share with us, Chief, what has been your challenges into your career, especially here in Austin?
Well, here in Austin, it's been having to change the mindset of this community. Sometimes there are people here that think that we're a small town, and we are not. We are the 13th largest city in the United States, fastest growing city in the United States. And from a criminal justice standpoint, sometimes I think that we're a little permissive. You know, when somebody can kill somebody drunk driving and get probation, kill two sisters drunk driving and get probation, I have a problem with that. But I want to talk about education. And the other piece for me is getting this community that is, 35%, almost 40% Latino. We don't stick around to be counted sometimes, you know what I mean?
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
But hay pachanga, hay música.
Hay pachanga y de todo. Pero el problema es para mí, one of the challenges has been the immigration debate. I think it's had a chilling effect on the relationship between law enforcement and the community. And the community, the sanctuary cities stuff last session. There is no sanctuary for criminals in our city. There is no sanctuary. Whether you're legal or illegal, we don't care. But the only people that's left that we're not after are the nannies, the cooks, the people that are actually creating the opportunities for us to have an affordable cost of living. So the bottom line is, I always tell the community, the only ones that have to fear the police department are criminals. If you're a victim of crime or you're a witness to crime, we don't care about your immigration status. Adelante, aquí estamos para servirle, no tenga miedo, no tenga temor, que lo vamos a proteger y le vamos a traer justicia a su familia.
But, it's like the background. My brother's a USA Marshal.
Yeah.
My mom was raised by a single parent.
Wow.
And she believed, even being raised at the ghetto, I would say this.
Yeah.
She really, her vision was to get a higher education. And very strong woman. But she believed that there's something getting out of here. And I think if people will value the value, not what they value, the value of education, and then the values that they have to value to really empower that child education.
education, and the data's clear. And I told this to kids. I always tell them, who wants to be a millionaire? And every hand comes up.
Yo!
And the truth is that if you get your degree, if you get your bachelor's degree, in a lifetime you make $1 million that you would not have made without that degree. If you get a master's degree in a lifetime, the data shows that you'll get $2 million, right? I mean, I see some educators out there. So what you got to do as a parent is paint that picture for the kid in terms where they understand the value of education. And so that's exciting for me, just like reading. Who wants to go to Mars? Oh, hands go up. Who wants to go to China? Who wants to go here? And I always tell them, you don't have to leave your living room to go to any of those places if you pick up a book. You can go to the moon. You can go and explore the entire known universe through reading. And that's why, to this day, I still love to read. I used to love, remember when we were kids, we had the wall, the teachers would put up the bookworm, and every time you'd read a book, I wanted to always be the kid with the longest worm, man. I would read through books like they were going out of style, and I was very proud of that fact.
Look at you now. Share, what would you like to see as a community leader in our schools?
Whew, that's a huge issue. This is something that may be a little surprise. I feel very strongly that in the United States we have criminalized childhood. When I was a kid, if you and I, once I was in high school, if we got in a fight, they'd take you to your counselor's office, they'd take you to the principal's office, they'd give you detention. My school district was smart. Detention wasn't being suspended during the week. Detention was after school and on Saturdays. So you didn't get rewarded to stay home, which is a mistake, in my opinion. But now what they do too often around the country, especially in economically depressed neighborhoods and in black and brown neighborhoods, is they call the police. They call the school district police, and what used to be a discipline issue now becomes a criminal issue, and that starts the slippery slope. So I really feel that although I'm in favor of having police officers on campus, I think it creates a safe environment. They should be there for the safety of the students and not to be taking the place of teachers and counselors and criminalizing childhood behavior. I mean, fighting a fist fight every once in a while, that was, you know, I remember being a freshman in high school and don't do this, kids. I got in trouble. But some guy mentioned my mother. And so what do when somebody mentions your mother? Sometimes when you're 14 years old. Boom. Mi mamá que dijiste, pow! Today, they would have called the cops. I might not be here. So that's my point. That's what young people do. They make mistakes, and we've got to stop criminalizing childhood. And the sad part is, if you look at what happens to kids in terms of discipline in affluent schools and less affluent schools, I guarantee you that you're going to be some disparate treatment, and that's not right. We have got to treat kids as kids and not as criminals.
The audience, I think, is ready to have some questions. Here we go. What's your name?
My name is Ann Teich. I'm a retired teacher. Sorry, and I also have laryngitis. Chief Alcimeno, you mentioned the importance of going to college and how you can earn a lot of money, but isn't it true that if you graduate from high school and you go into a technical school or something like that, or ACC, if you become a plumber, electrician, something like that, don't we need those people? Aren't they just as valuable as a BA, MA, PhD?
Absolutely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, it's funny you would mention that because a study just came out, some data that shows that in a lot of instances, people with an associate's degree that go to community college and learn a vocation and learn a vocation that has value are making more money than some people that get a bachelor's degree. So everybody has their strength. You know, if you want to work with your hands, but at the end of the day, what's important is that you learn a marketable skill. That if you want to be a plumber, which by the way, plumbers make a tremendous amount of money.
And we need some at home, remember?
Yeah, I mean, just call one, you'll know. That's fine, a mechanic. But the bottom line is you've got to get educated. And it's all education. It's learning a skill, it's learning a vocation, and that's a great option for a lot of young people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Una pregunta, usted.
What about bullying?
Bullying is an issue that, unfortunately, with the advent of Facebook and Twitter and MySpace and all those things that are out there on the net, that not only is it bullying at school, it doesn't stop at school. It continues outside of school. And so people have to be real careful that you don't cross that line where the bullying becomes almost criminal. And so For kids that are being bullied, please tell your parents so they can tell the principal. My son was bullied in junior high school, and we took care of it. I'll leave it at that.
Pregunta.
Thank you.
Levántese. ¿Su nombre?
Emma, yo soy la mamá de 4 niños y mi pregunta para usted, se está hablando de la educación de nuestros hijos que comienza como padres en nuestra casa. ¿Qué es lo que se está haciendo para la seguridad de nuestros hijos en nuestros vecindarios cuando los manejadores no respetan los límites en la velocidad? Yo tuve un accidente hace 2 años con mis 3 hijas y aún no he podido resolver nada. Pero mi cuestión es esa, mis 4 hijos van muy bien en la escuela, 4 diferentes escuelas. Mis 3 hijos han salido de aquí de esta escuela, que es muy buena escuela. Y por ahí se comienza por la seguridad para nuestros hijos también, porque se están en peligro al no respetarse el límite en nuestros vecindarios.
So I can barely hear, but I think she's asking about speed limits in neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's true.
Si tiene un problema en su área, llaman a la policía, díganos cuál es el problema, cuándo está ocurriendo y nosotros vamos a mandar nuestros oficiales. Pero acuérdese esto, algunas veces cuando vamos, la persona que está también en exceso de velocidad es la persona que llamó. Acuérdese que nosotros cuando llegamos no puede decir, bueno, yo fui el que llamé. That's fine, you're the one that called us, but we caught you speeding. So what I'm saying for those that speak English is that sometimes people will call about traffic issues, which is a real quality of life and safety issue, and they only show up the right tickets. The person that calls one of the persons that was part of the problem, and they get a ticket, and they go, wait a minute, I'm the one that called. Well, sorry, you got called, and sometimes we get the dolphin with the shark. So,
Right.
But all you got to do, llámenos, dígalo cuál es el lugar, and we will send officers.
Chief, what is the fees in the school zone when their school's been, in structured time?
At most places, it's 20 miles per hour. It is, when children are present, you will see the sign flashing. And one of the things I love about Texans is that by and large, they respect that. You'll see everybody slow down. And a big part of that is because we send our officers on a regular basis to shoot radar in the schools. And you guys know that. I see a lot of heads doing this. And that's by design, because the most precious people in our community are our children. They're the ones that we need to protect so they can grow up and be the doctors, the lawyers, the plumbers, the electricians, the future. So don't speed in school zones because we will catch you. And don't forget no texting and driving anywhere in Austin, Texas.
I was going to say, so on the blinking light, it's right there that you're coming 100 feet, you see you slow down automatically? Or what's the distance?
Until you see end of school zone, there'll be another sign at the
okay.
other end.
Did you
So it's
understand
20
that?
miles an hour, 20 millas por hora en la zona escolar.
Go ahead. Your name, sir?
Rudy Ibarra.
Hi, Rudy.
Hello. Just a quick question about the, with all the recent mass shootings in schools, what is your opinion about increasing the safety across campuses in Austin?
Well, I can tell you this, I don't think we should have a bunch of people running around with guns in the school. Mental illness hits every community, including teachers, police officers, and everything else. People think that being armed is it's a magic pill. Well, if you believe that, police officer in this country is killed every 54 hours. Police officers are armed, they're trained. What's going to keep you safe is awareness. What's going to keep us safe is the community when they see something on Facebook that appears that somebody's having suicide or homicidal thoughts, that report us. What's going to keep us safe is prevention. And lastly, what's going to keep us safe is good protocols in school, locking the doors, keeping the classroom doors locked. But the one thing I will say is this: if you have an intruder on campus, a masked intruder on campus, if you're going to die, you die fighting. So if you cannot, once you lock your room and you lock yourselves in, you need to position yourself with scissors, with whatever it takes. When that person comes in that room, you go down fighting. And I know that that's really tough for people to do, but that's just the way I was raised, and we now realize that that's probably the best defense. Because the law of averages being what it is, if you have a proliferation of firearms on campus, you're going to have issues with accidental discharges. You're going to have issues that that'll probably become a bigger problem. Lastly, when law enforcement shows up, they're not going to. They see somebody with a gun that's not in a police uniform. Guess what they're going to assume? Threat. and you're going to have some friendly fire. If you all remember at the University of Texas, we had a shooting about 2 years ago now, September of 2 years ago, where a young man came into campus with an AK-47. This police officer is here with me, Dennis Ferris and I were right around the campus. We were down the street when the call came out of a gunman. We were there within 2 minutes. And the first thing I did was get on the radio and say, no officer out of uniform is to enter this university. Because the last thing I want is police officers to shoot each other. So there is no perfect answer. I think awareness, I think vigilance on the part of parents and a part of neighbors is truly the key to our safety.
Preguntas? Any questions? I got one more question. Anyone? Everybody's
No sean penosos y penosas, eh?
Everybody's just absorbing it.
I think it's these glasses. Everybody's focusing on the glasses. ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo me veo? Mira.
There you go, right? Here
¿Está bueno?
you go!
I like
I
these.
love that. Look at that smile. You look at that smile. But you know,
Oh, God.
you're all going to get one of these at the end of the show.
God.
Chief, I want to thank you for being in our talk show.
Excellent.
I know you follow us on Twitter.
Absolutely.
Continue to do that because we follow you.
Excellent.
Es buen placer estar con usted aquí este día.
Gracias, el placer y el
Águilas.
honor es mío. Gracias.
So how about that? Just give applause to our Chief Art Acevedo. Wonderful, wonderful. This concludes our talk show for the day. And remember, you are the first teacher of your child's education. And also remember, you are the driver of the child's higher education. Usted es el chofer de la educación de ese camión para sus hijos. Follow us at Twitter at Eagle Talk Show. I want to thank all our sponsors today. And again, thank you for coming to the Eagle Talk Show.